So something happened last offseason, which was a huge red flag to many people, including this show, I believe. The Blazers fired Chauncey Billups' brother.
They did.
And that was like the first big, that can't feel good.
They're going to move on from their head coach. Oh, wait. No, they're not.
Well, I didn't know if they would move on from the coach versus just, let him come back for one final season before deciding about what they wanted to do. But that was a pretty big sign to most people that was kind of, this is it. And then they won 10 of 11 games, and they beat bad teams. And so in their estimation, everything got way better. And so they gave Chauncey Billups a contract extension. Usually when the team fires a coach's staff, you saw this in Memphis, it's a big red flag.
Yeah.
Well, that red flag switched colors. Billups got an extension, and then a couple days ago, it was reported that they fired 3 assistants, one of which was the assistant that was in charge of the defense. I thought the defense was the thing we were touting.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that. Because Chauncey has acknowledged that he's not he's not the defensive guru.
Chris Fleming was just brought on, and he was the guy that worked with Scoot, and everybody tells me Scoot got better.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gomes was an internal, he'd worked with the Blazers for a few years, former player, obviously. And according to the reporting of the Oregonian, there are no set replacements yet.
So they just fired him to fire him.
So they fired 3 assistants.
Not because there was somebody out, oh, this guy's going to be better. We got to move on and upgrade here.
Well, what this kind of tells, I don't know, I can't speak for all these assistants. Maybe there's a backstory. Roy Rogers didn't want to be here. So, okay.
Sure.
But going off what I've seen reported, my takeaway is, well, the guy who had his staff fired from underneath him last year and no say in it, now he's got power back, and he's making the staff changes he wants.
He's allowed to call the shots all of a sudden?
Well, I'm asking, is this not kind of an interesting back and forth between last season and this offseason and how this stuff is being decided or run?
To me, it's the biggest question.
Are there no questions by people on this stuff?
I mean, there should be. I've been asking a lot of questions over the last
complete staff
years.
Overhaul, a new staff overhaul,
especially when things seemingly were working well in the one category that you bragged about in the offseason of why you need to bring the coach back and why the future of the organization is bright. And that is the defensive metrics that you showcased in the second half of the year, which I think were a little misleading, but that's what they're going to tout, and they have the numbers to back them up. And then you fire the main assistant who's in charge of the defense. I'm just very confused by that.
He'd been here the whole time.
He'd been here the entire time. And I think it leads to this is like the overall overarching, no matter how your opinion is on anything, we don't know who the definitive decision maker and what the definitive goal is for this organization. Is Joe Cronin allowed to call the roster shots, or does Burt Cold get a say? Is Chauncey Billups allowed to design everything he wants to with his coaching staff, or does Joe get a say and Burt get a say? There are a lot of overarching questions about the decision-making process inside this organization that we just will never know because they'll never grant I'm just saying we in terms of fans and media, they'll never grant you the access in order to find that kind of information out.
You'd have to get anonymous sourcing to get
You would,
that
and they're not going to give you the anonymous sourcing because they're not getting close to Jody Allen. It's just not going to happen.
Well, you don't have to get. I don't think you have to get close to Jody Allen to get the scoop of how it's operating.
Well, I don't think the GM's going to come out and tell you, actually, I don't have the ability to do whatever I want with the roster. Burt Cold has the final say on all roster decisions.
Well, you might not get that kind of intel, but you might get more intel that it's not.
Job preservation is a hell of a thing,
It is a hell of a thing.
You get one of those 2 jobs in the NBA, you want to hold on to it.
But it's not like you can't get anonymous sourcing is my point.
Yeah.
You just might not get it from the very top. I don't know. I found this kind of an under-the-radar interesting
I think that's
thing.
an incredibly under-the-radar thing that not a lot of people followed or paid attention to.
Because to me, I think that screams Chauncey is changing his staff how he wants it.
Yeah.
But last year, he had no say in that staff.
He was a dead man walking, and we spent the entire year saying he will not be back. Everybody plugged into the organization said he's going to be working on television next year.
Yeah.
And then he got an extension, and now he's firing and hiring different staff members.
Well, not yet. They don't know they're going to hire.
Well, true. Firing, potentially hiring.